And hello, Hotman and Air Acolytes. It's good to see you again. We are back here on Breaking Wind, giving you a nice, strong whiff of the world of Avatar The Last Airbender. This is a Last Airbender podcast. With me, as always, my friend, my buddy, my brother that I never wanted, VHS Jace. Hello, my good friend.
Hello, my good friend. Every time I keep watching this show, I'm reminded how slow am I for never seen this show. Like 15 years takes, it's pretty slow in anyone's book.
Well, I completely understand. I'm only just now watching the Fast and the Furious movies.
Oh, you are.
Yes.
Which you can see on the Jason Morgaston channel. You can check out the first one.
Yes, and the review of Too Fast, Too Furious will be coming your way as soon as I finish it or I forget. But enough about that. We are here to talk about two more episodes from the first season of Avatar The Last Airbender. Both of them, it's a two-parter this time around. The two-parter is called The Winter Solstice, but they have their own separate titles because they are self-contained stories, but there is an overarching mission between the two. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let us discuss Winter Solstice Part 1, The Spirit World. Now here we get a brand new insight into one of Aang's powers that we have really not seen before. But before we get into that, let's recap a little bit. So the gang are traveling along. Incidentally, I love the exaggerated animation in this series. Just the still shots kill me every single time. The gang is traveling along. Oh, it is. You could take any still and just turn it into a poster. This one included. Amazing. So the gang are traveling on Appa's back and doing their usual lighthearted banter. Aang discovers that clouds are made of water. And as they are flying along, they see a gigantic burn scar in the landscape. They land, and Aang is once again saddened that this kind of destruction has befallen the world in his absence. He wished he could find someone to help him be the Avatar. Foreshadowing right there. There is a bit of dialogue that I really enjoy in this episode, and that is Katara talking to Aang, who is just absolutely devastated, telling him, without the fire, the acorns could not sprout. And I think that is such a great mirror to the Avatar cycle itself. This cyclical motion of birth, life, and rebirth that we see in this series. And speaking of birth, life, and rebirth, let's get some hardcore nudity. There we go. Iroh enjoying a great soak in a hot tub. First of all, I don't know what's wrong with Zuko. I jump in there. I don't care if my uncle was in there. I jump in there because that looks comfy AF right there.
Absolutely.
But of course, Zuko being the driven young man that he is, says they have to go. We have to go right now. Get out of there. But of course, the threat of old man nudity is enough to make Zuko tell him, okay, you take half an hour and then you can come along. Thought this was a great gag. I love that these two have comedic bits together that don't make them look incompetent. It's just, they're almost like the anti-gang at this point. So I just love them as characters.
Look, I do too, and I haven't seen a lot of the uncle, but what I'm seeing so far, I'm really warming to him a lot. I mean, I was for the beginning. In the beginning, I thought to myself, oh, he's being dominated by his nephew. I do not think that anymore at all. Oh, no, he is guiding him. He is the one in control, and he's trying to teach Zuko some very important lessons, and he's not aware of that yet. But yeah, there's a great scene with this uncle later in this episode. I can't wait to talk about that. It's so good.
Yeah, Iroh is definitely the wily old trickster. He is that guy who would, in another life, he would be hustling people out of their money at pool halls. I just love this character. He is my favorite character in the show, and I love the affection he has for his nephew. There's scenes coming up in a couple of seasons that I want to talk about so badly right now, but I'm not going to. But they are so wonderful. So the gang they are approached by an old man, as people in burned out places usually are, who tells them that, first of all, hey, I saw your bison. I know you're the Avatar. It's like flying a banner behind you saying, hey, look, kids, it's the Avatar. But he says, hey, we know we're the Avatar. Come back to my village. We need your help. It turns out that Heibai, a black and white spirit, attacks the village every night and kidnaps someone. And with the approach of the solstice, hence the title, the membrane between the real world and the spirit world is growing thin, and they don't know what this dangerous entity is going to do. They want Aang to mediate with the spirit because the Avatar is supposed to be a bridge between the physical world and the spiritual world. The only problem is Aang has absolutely no idea how to do any of that because he's never been taught how to Avatar before.
Yeah. I saw, that monster was pretty intimidating. I'm like, what is that thing? Like, and even at this point in the episode, I didn't think it was a spirit at all. I just think there's a monster attacking the village.
This is Shamu if you don't give him that fish right now.
Yeah.
This is what Blackfish doesn't want you to see.
No, it's definitely, I remember that in the doco. But yeah, like it's a pretty terrifying thing. And it's so lovely about the show, which I really love about Aang, is that, his journey to become the full potential of the Avatar, because he's already the Avatar, we know that, but his full potential, I love that we're learning it step by step throughout it. Like, we're growing with him. I think is absolutely wonderful. And the fact that he goes and goes, look, I got no idea how to handle this situation in any way, but I'm here to try, says a lot. Now, I think it's a wonderful lesson for young people out there to be seeing Aang approach problems like he does.
Yeah, Aang is kind of like that student who wants to learn, but the school is deserted and there's nobody there to help him. And I agree fully with what you said. For the last few episodes, it's like the series has been drip feeding us world building, because we were introduced to the waterbenders and then the firebenders, and then we had a couple of episodes in the Earth Kingdom. Now we're getting the spirit world. So they're just kind of laying things on top of us with every single episode. And
I can guarantee there is some college out there where a media professor is showing people this series as a way to write a series, well-built, create well-defined characters, because this is like textbook execution on a high level, what they're doing here. There's no fat in this show. There's no fluff. They are into it, and there's a lot going on.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So Iroh, in all his naked glory, is captured by Earthbenders. Which, first
I'm
of
hoping
all,
they're the only 3 rocks in that scenario.
Yeah, I don't know. He doesn't look uncomfortable. I think that they at least did the bro a solid right there. There's nothing holding him down further down.
Hopefully.
Yeah, and they do give him a loincloth later. So, I mean, they're just thank goodness for
that. He's
but
not
enough
even
about
that worried, though, is he?
He's never that worried. And that tells you Iroh knows that the Earthbenders were never in control.
Yeah.
They were never in charge. It was always him. It was just basically he was having fun. But anyway, Heibai shows up. Aang is trying to negotiate with him. Does not go well. Aang can't communicate with the vengeful creature, and it is absolutely wrecking the entire village. And Sokka, bless Sokka, he comes out to try to stop this monster and to try to help Aang, but unfortunately Heibai grabs Sokka and runs off into the jungle. And Aang gives chase through the jungle, looking for our boy right there, who just does not know when to say, don't worry about it. Aang chases Heibai through the jungle and knocks himself out on some kind of altar out in the middle of the burn scar. And there we go. That's where we leave.
Yeah, can I just say, the way they describe that damaged area of the land calling it a scar. Like, it's a little thing, Jace, but it just goes to show the care they are putting into it. Because to describe it that way means that the planet is a living thing, and there has been a scar on this living thing. I don't know. Like, I'd never seen something described like that. It's like they continually describe it as a scar.
And the way that they say that, good things can grow inside of a scar if you just give it time could be referring to, other things.
Right. Okay.
But enough about that. Enough about that.
All right.
So,
yeah.
Oh dear. So, crafty old Iroh. Crafty old Iroh is basically having a great time with his captors at this point.
He is. He's having fun with them.
I'm having trouble like keeping straight what happens, all these different parts. But the whole bit about my chains are so loose. They're just like hitting up against me. Can you make them tighter, please? And then he just kind of blows on them and they glow red.
Yeah.
That crafty old man. I just love him.
Just knows what he's doing. That's when he fell off there. He fell off because he left his shoe behind.
Yes.
Because he knows his nephew's coming for him.
And he rolls down the hill like the baby in Kung Pao.
Yeah.
But unlike the baby in Kung Pao, he gets caught. But that's okay because you kind of get the feeling, I knew I wasn't getting away. I'm just slowing you idiots down. Oh my goodness! Back in the village, Aang returns and he tries to talk to the old man and Katara, trying to give them a status update. However, much to Aang's shock, they can't hear him because Aang has somehow been sucked into the spirit world. No one can see him. No one can talk to him. Not even his old friend Appa. And as he is trying to figure out what the heck is going on, a dragon emerges from the woods. And he is at first terrified. He tries to run for it. His airbending does not work in the spirit world either. But Aang realizes, oh, wait, you're Avatar Roku's dragon. And Avatar Roku's dragon offers Aang a mount and whisks him away to the...
Yeah, I was just going to say, it was only a realization. I'm like, wait, he's dead. Like, for all intents and purposes, Aang is dead in this episode. He dies in this thing.
He's meditating. He smacked into a tree and ended up like falling like this into like the lotus position or something.
Is he breathing though? That's the thing.
He's breathing. He's not dead.
He's breathing. Oh, okay. Well, that's a new thing because I thought if you're a spirit, you're dead.
No, not always. Not always. The Avatar can go back and forth, and Sokka can go back and forth, but unwillingly.
Sokka can.
Yeah, but not willingly. Only if he's dragged.
Oh, yes, of course. Only if he's dragged. Yeah. But, well, he's the conduit, Aang, isn't he? He's the conduit.
He is. He's the bridge. He's the bridge between the world of the living and the spirit world, which in the Avatar universe, it's not really, the spirit world's not really a land of the dead. It's just like another world where other creatures live. And the people who live on one side calls the creatures spirits. And the spirits kind of think that the other side are just annoyances. Which it is explored a lot more in the spin-off series, The Legend of Korra. Yeah. But yeah, that's
we'll get there in like 2029.
Yeah, we'll get there eventually. It's fine. It's fine. So the dragon that used to belong to Avatar Roku takes Aang to Avatar Roku's temple on a faraway crescent island in the Fire Kingdom. And on that island, Aang is told that if you want to talk to Roku, you have to be here when the beam of light hits Avatar Roku's eyes, which will only happen on the solstice by the next day. Aang, of course, can't stay there. Yeah. Aang can't be there. He's got stuff going on. He's got a buddy who's stuck in the spirit world. He can't hang around for that. And so he asks the dragon to take him home. Oh, and then, Zuko is like, oh, my naked uncle's missing. I better go find him.
He has that's actually the point where doesn't he have to make a choice because he sees Appa in the sky and he's got his uncle. He knows his uncle's down the path, and to me, it's the first time we actually get to see that maybe Zuko isn't a one-note villain after all, because he makes a moral choice.
He does, and that is an interesting parallel. It's a mirror between the two of them, because Aang can have all of his answers, but that means abandoning Sokka. Zuko could have what he thinks is the Avatar, but that means abandoning Iroh. Both of them make the moral choice. I cannot abandon my friend just for what I want. And I do. I think that's great. Of course, Iroh is just
that scene, dude. This scene is so good.
It's great.
There's a couple of scenes next episode I'll talk about as well. But there are certain things I'm starting to watch, Jason, going, I really can't wait to see a live action version of this. And that fight scene is coming to my head going, I hope we get to see the live action version of that fight. Why not? It looks fun. Don't want to see that?
I'm cringing because you said live action and Avatar, and we have to. After the season is over with, we have to.
But I'm talking about the new one, not the one that
now the
I've
new
never
one.
Seen.
Fine, we can do the new one. It's just every time I hear live action and Avatar, yeah.
Okay, can we just take a side note here? Are there those characters in the film?
In the M. Night Shyamalan movie, yes, they are there.
They are all there. Are they trying to do the whole series in one movie, or are they focusing on a certain area or timeline?
They try to do the whole season in one movie, which is a horrible decision. And it was just rushed and dumb, and they skip over things they shouldn't have skipped over, and they put things in there. You're like, where did that come from? I honestly don't remember if the kidnapping of Iroh happens in the movie, because I only watched it once.
I'm not expecting anything out of that thing. I'm just hoping for the Netflix series that comes out that we get, because they're apparently, what is it, 10 episodes, 8 episodes?
Yes.
They're really going to try to get it done in there. So I think they're certainly going to have opportunity to do things like that for sure.
Well, this was a 20-episode season of 30-minute episodes, a 10-episode season of hour-long episodes.
You got it.
Yeah, you got it. So I'm cautiously optimistic. It's just that I know what a live-action Avatar could be.
Yes. Good. But see, I'm lucky because I haven't had that experience yet. And so I'm full of wonder and hope and excitement. There's no
Shyamalan movie
scar on me yet.
That. Yeah, you're gonna get your Zuko scar from the Shyamalan movie. I almost don't want to do it to you, but I'm very petty and spiteful. And if I had to sit through it, you do too.
Well, it has to be a complete experience, right? You'd
Absolutely,
be denying me the full Avatar experience by not.
Yes, I would.
The movie.
So the dragon returns Aang to his body, and he has a quick reunion with Katara, and then Aang faces Heibai and realizes that he can connect to Heibai the same way that the dragon connected to him, by touching his forehead. And so he realizes that that Heibai is just enraged by what has happened to the forest, by the Fire Nation, but he reassures Heibai by using Katara's own words that the burned forest will regrow someday. Heibai transforms into a panda, which I think kind of makes this Kung Fu Panda crossover, but I'm not 100% certain. And so Heibai leaves, and Aang tells the others that he needs to get to Roku's temple in the Fire Nation before the solstice. And of course, Iroh and Zuko have their reunion. Everything is fine, except now they need to hurry because they have to get to the Fire Nation before the solstice tomorrow.
Katara. Can I say before we move on to the next episode, Katara fascinates me as a character because I don't know if she understands how important she is to the group and how wise she is, because she inadvertently saved the day a couple of times now.
Oh yeah,
with just simple, logical wisdom to Aang, which he then usually pays off in an outcome that goes the right way. So she is somebody that I have no idea how further developed she is, but instantly likable, and seems to be there's more to her that we haven't discovered yet. I'm probably stating the obvious, Jace, but I like her.
She is a great character, and to her credit, she's discovered a hairstyle she's going to keep for the next 80 years. And I respect that level of commitment.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about episode 8 of season 1, Avatar Roku, The Winter Solstice, Part 2. And I know I've said this before, but Avatar Roku is what I nicknamed my Roku at home. So I remember my kids are like, what's Avatar Roku? What is that? Is that a nerd thing? Yes, it is. And you will respect that nerd thing.
It's also a fantastic episode of Avatar.
It is a fantastic episode of Avatar. So much happens. I enjoy this bit at the beginning whenever they have their usual exposition and Aang says, I want to thank you for, you need to go now! I just love that so much. It's just the humor of this show.
But again, of course, Aang being just so sweet and going like, I'm not going to put my friends through this.
Yeah.
And his friends going like, no, you're not going nowhere without us.
Which, I completely get. I also thought it was kind of funny that Zuko shows up almost immediately after they leave. And, he's just like, hey, where's the Avatar going? And, of course, the village sells him out immediately because, of course, they did. Pardon me for just a second.
Yeah, he threw him against the wall. That's what he did. And he threatens to set people on fire and destroy his village. So
he could have delayed them just a little bit longer. My cough medicine is starting to wear off.
Yes.
So lots of things happen. First of all, we get a vision of the comet. The comet's coming.
Yeah,
the comet is something.
Which we get a bit of. We get this ongoing vision of that thing, don't we?
Yes, we do. There's more of the gang getting ready to leave.
Yeah.
And hey, notice that they have not given Iroh his clothes back.
No. And I'm just glad they grabbed that character, the village chief there, straight from an episode of Scooby-Doo or Star Trek.
Yeah, it's quite.
Check out the look. I mean, no eyes.
Zoink, Zuko!
The eyeballs are the same colors as the skin.
Zoink, Zuko! Don't set Velma on fire! Don't burn my Scooby snacks! Cheekies! I love the sequence that comes up next because the gang is in the air on Appa, trying to get to the Fire Nation, which is a very ill-advised thing to do. At their back is, of course, Zuko, who's ready to just absolutely blow them out of the sky. And in a very he's not even messing around.
No, he is not messing around here. And wow, the next 15 minutes of this episode,
incredible.
That's what I want to see done live action in the series.
It is
this whole blockade sequence,
blockade, which of course is being run by our old friend General Zhao. Jason Isaacs returning, and he don't care. Jason Isaacs don't give an F. He is going to shoot his flaming fireballs at the gang, even though Zuko is in the way. He's
just collateral damage, the traitor, isn't he?
Yeah, he shouldn't be here anyway. You shouldn't even be here today, Zuko. We get this exciting aerial sequence of Appa just weaving in and out. They lose Sokka at one point, but they're like, oh no, wait, we got to go back and get him. He is essential to the plot. My favorite part of this whole thing, fireball coming right towards them. Aang leaps off the front of Appa in front of them and blows a friggin' hole through the flaming thing. And just, it's so great. It's so great. And of course, I got to admit at this point, I'm kind of rooting on Zuko as well. He manages to squeeze through the blockade as well.
Not because of his skill, though. That's not because of his skill.
But you know what?
Zhao lets him go.
Yeah, Zhao's a jerk.
He's purely evil, isn't he?
I just want to
But the uncle is on it straight away. He's suspect.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Like
I am suspicious.
Yes. Why did you let us through?
Yeah. Although to their credit, they do come up with a great plan.
They do.
It doesn't work, but they do come up with a great plan.
But they are baked at this point.
Yeah. One other thing that I found very harrowing about this sequence is that at one point, Appa friggin' catches on fire. And they have to pat him out. And that's my boy. Don't mess with Appa. That is my boy.
Yeah, no, he gives it his all in that scene, Appa. He really
He
does.
does. He gets a good rest though.
Yeah, every bit of energy gets used.
They
And
need
you
to
well
rub his
deserved that.
belly and give him some peaches. He was a good boy. Oh my goodness. Okay, so they've made it to Roku's island and journey to the temple where they meet the fire sages who are there
Yeah.
to that's the wrong picture. I don't know. I've
That's
got
the
a
wrong
good
picture.
picture of somewhere.
There is a picture of a group of them there.
There we go. They meet the fire
Yeah.
sages
Friendly looking
who
bunch.
are there to guard the temple and to help the Avatar. But these guys, in the meantime, since the Avatar's been gone, they've put on the red hats that say Ozai, and they have become the bad guys, and they are there to stop the Avatar from entering the chamber. Because if Aang enters the chamber and speaks to Roku, there's no telling how powerful Aang will become.
Well,
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go on. Go ahead.
I was just going to continue, but not all of them are bad. There is one good fire sage left, who offers to take them to the chamber to talk to the spirit of Avatar. Roku. Boy, I just went blank there for a second.
Yeah, Roku. He seems to get what it's really about, though. That one sage, doesn't he? What their true purpose is.
He does. He is the one who is just carrying on the tradition, and he knows what's up. I just got to throw this picture up there because I love this picture. It's a great superimposed.
It is, isn't it? It is.
Yeah.
He's the. He's giving me very strong Kylo Ren vibes.
He is, except he's not as big of a baby.
No. And let's hope he's treated better.
I hope so too. Well, I know he is.
Okay.
Yeah, I do know he is. The sage takes the gang to the door of the temple, and they are horrified to see the door is locked, and it can only be opened by an avatar, a fully realized avatar, or by the temple sages, because that makes total sense. If a learned avatar needs to get into this chamber, let's lock it so he can't get in.
Sokka's got a cool idea, though.
He does have a cool idea, and good for him. It almost works, and I love the way that they turn a failure into a victory, because the scorch marks against the door makes it look like that they were successful. The sages show up, they open up the door, and Aang goes to run inside to go talk to the statue, and then who should appear? Oh, that's not him. Who should appear? Zuko appears, and Zhao appears. It's like a big family reunion.
It is. There's a lot happening both sides of the door here. Though, can I say the moment when they first open it up and Momo's there?
Momo, laugh. It is. Momo always shows up where you don't expect.
And he's just like looking at him. Yeah, it's pretty great. But yeah, it's all happening here. Like,
it is. So much stuff happens.
You can make an argument that been a series finale. It's feeling like that. It's all happening.
Well, so much could have happened that would have made this overstuffed, but they paced it wonderfully. Zuko showing up, Aang and Zuko getting into a small scuffle, Zhao showing up, the sages. It could have been overstuffed. It could have been a disaster pacing wise, but they did such a great job.
And it's certainly, well, we get the Harry Potter dead sequence, or the what else? Deadpool 2 when he's dead sequence, where basically he's in this spirit world talking to Roku.
Yeah, either reference works. So,
but it's a very important scene though, because it gives us the whole overall plot for the bad guys.
Yes, the comet is called Sozin's Comet, and it returns once every 100 years. The last time it was around was shortly before Aang's birth. It's coming around again, and whenever Sozin's Comet shows up, the firebenders become basically unstoppable, and Ozai is going to use the power of this comet to basically take over the entire world and to finish his war and bring the entire world under Fire Nation control. And Roku tells Aang that if you don't stop Ozai by the end of summer, that's it. Ozai is going to take over the entire world.
Oh, no, not that you got to stop him by the end of the summer, but the thing that makes an avatar complete, which takes years and years and years of skill and training, he's got to have done in a couple of months.
Yeah, it's like trying to it's like trying to finish a school paper 5 minutes, before the bell rings. We've all done it. It's fine.
Wow, like it's there's a lot going on here, mate. But it also then indicates that I love this because I'm going to put it on film now, and it's a theory will be embarrassing for me later on. But I'm already feeling like, okay, so that's why the avatars come back, because the comet's coming back, so it's all connected. And I feel like this is cyclical. So I'm starting to feel like this happens with every avatar. There's a cycle that is continually happening throughout the avatars. I don't know. I could be right. I could be wrong. But that's where my gut's going.
Well, there's a lot of themes of cyclical natures in this series, and one of which is, of course, whenever the doors open, and this Gandalf the Grey comes out, and he's like, "I am Gandalf the White now." No,
I'm about
Avatar,
to kick your ass.
Avatar, you shall not pass. You will be passing into your pants. Roku has basically taken over Aang's body with Aang's permission, of course, because Roku is all about consent, and is just thrashing. Oh, my chair just broke.
He is smacking fools, that guy.
He is smacking some sages up. He's not letting them do anything. I don't know why that popped up. I was
that's after this.
There we go. Yeah. There we go. I was looking for someone powerful, and I hit on that.
You did.
But yes, he just completely wrecks everybody, and to the point that he destroys his temple, which I feel was purposeful. He destroys his own temple. The gang appears to be trapped, but of course, dun 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 dun, Momo and Appa come on in to save the day.
As they do. They do the Empire Strikes Back. Bespin. They come in, they fly in, they take them, and they're out.
Yeah. Appa just kind of goes, Yahoo!
And they're out of there.
So many Star Wars references. Zhang,
he's just got an attitude problem.
He is, yeah. He shows up a lot more. Oh my God, this guy sucks.
Jason Isaac, you are just a treasure and a wonder. You're not in enough things, because everything you do is just perfection.
He makes you hate characters so easily. There is so much talent behind there.
Like who else is going to be Malfoy? You know what I mean? Like
no one. Who else is going to be
great villains?
Nobody.
Yeah.
Who else is going to be Zhao? Nobody. He actually shows up in The Legend of Korra at one point, and whenever he shows up, it's such an amazing moment, and you're just like, "What?" Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, the temple's destroyed. Aang has his new mission, and they fly off into the sunset. Again, you could take any frame of this series and just turn it into a poster. That's just absolutely.
But that's that. As they were flying to the moon, I'm sure there's a stronger visual representation, but it does feel like they're flying into the unknown, because they are on a mission now. I have no idea how to pull it off, and the stakes are as big as they could possibly be. Right?
Yes, actually, I think they're even bigger because now there's a ticking clock.
Yes,
they have pulled the ticking clock out, and it is ticking away. And
see, that's writing. That's how you write a series. How do you keep it going in momentum? Ticking clocks, guys, and they've done it. Clock.
Yes. Yeah. And so
the next two episodes are. Can't wait. We're gonna watch. I have to wait for the weekend, but that's what I do. I allow myself every weekend to watch only the 2 episodes. And I did say to you beforehand, this is pushing it now. When they deliver an episode like that, and then I have to wait a week to watch it further, even though it's right there in my fingertips, that is discipline. And that's what I'm doing here, mate. This is how much commitment I have to this show.
You're showing the same kind of discipline that Iroh showed in his loincloth.
Yes, that's my inspiration.
So, when we return next week, we will be discussing episode 9, The Waterbending Scroll, and episode 10, Jet.
Kind of an odd name for an episode that's set without airplanes.
Jet. Yes. Hey. Yeah, I don't know.
I can't wait.
Yeah. So,
Gonna be
ladies
fun.
and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Breaking Wind, a Last Airbender podcast. We will be back next week, and yeah, that's what's happening next week on Breaking Wind, a Last Airbender podcast. We should really come up with a different way of ending this show.
We
Next week
kind of do
on the Last Avatar Breaking Wind podcast, where we'll be
figure
next
it
week.
out.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's got to be a better way of ending this.
Because this is not awkward at all.
This is not awkward at all.